Alright, what's up guys? Nomadic Woodsman, Steve here. So I'm back in my Birchbark Canoe hardware store, that being the Boreal Forest. I need a little bit more roots to finish off my gunwale lashings. I need to attach where all the thwarts go, so I'll need a little bit more spruce roots. So I'm going to try to show you guys the whole process. So I found a good spot here that's nice and open, and it's mossy, sphagnum moss, so that should make it pretty easy for me to gather the roots. You don't want a spot where there's a bunch of other types of trees that, you know, your roots will get stuck in the other roots. So this looks pretty good. So I brought my big pot. I'm gonna roll all the roots in the pot right away, and then once I get home, all I gotta do is add some water and boil them, and then peel all the bark off, and then split them. So that's basically the idea behind it. So just quickly here, what I'm looking for is this type of tree, which is a black spruce. White spruce works as well. These are the needles there, and they're a little bit different from fir, that it's 4 sides, so the needles will easily roll in your finger like that because there's 4 sides to it. But the balsam fir has 2 sides, so it won't roll. Then you can see how the bark there is gray and cracks, and then a few larger trees here, you can really see how that bark cracks. So that's what I'm looking for to use for spruce roots. This will look like I'm destroying the forest floor, but it doesn't damage the trees because all I'm taking is a few small roots that are at the top. See, already found one right here. This looks like a nice size too. So I'm not using a shovel, just slowly pulling them out with my hands. Alright, these are my first roots there. So that's what I'm looking for. Just about that size. Throw them in the big pot. And we keep going. This is some really nice, thick sphagnum moss carpet. This is great isolation for shelters. It was used for roofing for log cabins. See, so once you get going, it goes pretty fast because the roots, they all crisscross. So when you're starting, they block off. Like you get blocked because you can't pull them out. But then the more you keep digging, this one's too short. The more you keep digging, the more you find some. One I cut off here because it's too big, and then a nice length. Look at that, eh? Then I'll bring them down to the river and rinse them off, clean them out, throw that in the pot. Alright, when you guys are gathering roots, if you want to do this, make sure your roots are from healthy trees, live trees. So for example here, this root is off of a dead tree and it's slightly rotting and the coloration is kind of darker. See, it's almost black here. And these ones, they don't have any strength to them. They'll break easily and they're not as nice, like they don't have that white color. Now this guy here, you can see this one's from a live tree. There's some sap in it. It's nice and white compared to this one that's a darker color. So live, good, dead, not good. So when you're in an area, you want to make sure the trees are live and healthy in that area. Like I said, don't worry about killing the trees or anything. You're just taking a minimal amount of roots that are on the surface of the earth. You're not actually harming the tree. Just trimming off some of the roots. I mean, roots, they're in the ground, so nice one there. Nice length to it. I'm looking for same kind of size as a pencil and that remain the same size, similar size. Don't branch off too much for about 6 feet, 5-6 feet. You could use different sizes of roots, but that's what I think makes the canoe really nice, is that equal, consistent sizing of the lashings. More symmetrical. Also, if you guys are gonna do this, make sure you go in a spot where you're actually allowed to cut trees or gather trees, or, you know, don't. Alright, I got a decent amount, so I'm gonna pick these up, put these all in a pot, go wash them in the river, maybe have a quick swim, go back home, boil them, peel them. Gotta go grab a quick drink of water and then put some moss back, minimize the impact, and then good to go. Refreshing. Alright, let's get back to splitting and boiling and roots. trim off the end of the stem piece, and then I'm just going to do a clean up of the garage, just get things sorted out. Out of there, see if they're long enough. Oh yeah, that's really easy to peel. See that? Just pull on them. Bark comes right off. That was about 20 minutes worth of boiling. The bark comes right off just like a banana peel. So means that's long enough. Alright, so let's peel all the roots and then split them. Grab some out of the pot. Just basically peel them off while they're still hot. Because if they cool down, then they start sticking back on. Hours of pleasure. At least it's a nice day. I can do this outside here, garage door open, and just relax. But now I'll have enough to complete all my lashings. I just put the they're called woogalises, or basically caps. I use winter bark, so later on I can do some designs on it. So it comes and closes the front of the canoe. And then these roots I'll use to finish off the thwart lashings. So the gunwales are latched every 1.5 inches, but where the thwarts are, I need to do a lashing there too to secure it. So once I peel the bark off, I put them all in water, so I'll put them in the bucket there. So that way they stay flexible, and then I can split them in half. Let's see, so this is the thwart. I did some holes to sew. This is what the lashings will look like there. Basically 3 passes in each hole and then 1 stitch on each side. So getting there, we are getting there. Yes, from it here on in, it's nothing exciting. It's just slowly, or as fast as you can, I guess, not slowly, but yeah, just peel. It's a lot of work, but you know, it's rewarding. So I started this morning gathering. It was probably 10:30. Now by the time I got back, went for a quick swim, it's probably like 2 o'clock now. So I mean, it's like a half day's project. Usually a half day to gather and boil and debark, and then the next day or that evening you can start splitting in half the roots. The main thing is to get them debarked while the water is still warm. Get the bark off, because that is once the water cools down, they might stick back on the roots. So I want to get that done as soon as possible. Yeah, and then I'll use little scissors to trim off all the little branches that come off, all the offshoots. And then I'm ready. I got my lashing material for a while. The last time I gathered roots, it was with John with Bear Lake Bushcraft, and he did a video as well on the whole gathering and processing process. So if I missed anything, just go check out that video from John. I'll put a link in the description. The last time we had a little bit more than that pot. That gave me enough roots to do pretty much all the gunnel lashings and the stem pieces. So yeah, and I don't put any cool water or anything in there. I just leave it warm, and it slowly cools down. But I take roots kind of one at a time, just to make sure that when I take it out of the water, it's really in the hot water. It's not just sitting out, because if it cools down too much, then it's harder to peel. The issue that's when it's boiling hot, you burn your hands. But what do you prefer, burning your hands or having a hard time peeling it? I prefer burning my hands, to be honest. As bad as it sounds. I'll put them all there just to the side for now. These roots are a very underestimated resource, I think, in the boreal forest. They're great for lashings. The issue is that you can't really do cordage, actual cordage that bends, because once they dry, they get brittle. But when you have a lashing that is stuck on something else, just like on a bark canoe, it holds the bark together. Like when it stays in place, it's really good and solid. You could use it to make shelter bindings easily, and things like that. Quick pot hangers too, they work well. They eventually dry out, like they can burn. Like, of course, a piece of wire or chain is even better, but if you can have like a little piece of wood attached, and then use your root as a cord for the pot hanger, that works very well. Well guys, I think at this point we pretty much covered everything there is to cover on spruce roots, gathering, processing, using. If you guys have any questions, just throw something in the comments. Make sure you guys like the videos as always, and then I'll try to answer. So these are, like I showed the tree, so these are either white spruce or black spruce. They both grow in my area. I think other trees could be used as well, but I don't know why, but spruce is just the tree that most First Nations use. I never tried the other roots, like the other evergreen roots, but I'm sure in a pinch they would work as well. They might not be as long and straight as the spruce. I'm thinking like, I know, tamarack roots and pine roots would work as well. But spruce roots is just historically and in the literature what was mostly used, so I just stick to spruce. But in a pinch, I'm sure they would work. I got the cedar ribs in the water now for a week. So as soon as I'm done with these lashings, I can start bending my my ribs to shape. So that'll be coming up soon in one of the next videos. I'm making lots of progress on the root lashings, so I'm just gonna do this one here and show you guys the process. Now I did this one already, it's basically the same thing. So what you want to do, I have 2 holes in my thwarts, and then my lashings on the bark side are pretty much the same as the ones here. So I'll make 1 hole and I'll pass the root twice in that 1 hole. And then here, for this style of a canoe or lashing, basically I do 1 pass on the side, 3 in the hole, 3 in the other hole, and 1 pass on the other side. And then for the end thwarts, I do 4 passes in the hole, 1 on each side, and on the side, this is what it gives me. And they're all nice and flat, because after that I want to put the gunwale caps on top. So just starting this one here, made my first hole, getting ready to lash it, and then hide the pegs. The gunwale lashings, these ones, they're pretty much the same technique as I used on the spruce bark canoe. So I didn't really film them much, and I think I'm done most of them. But these ones are a little bit more technical just because of the 2 holes you're going in. I'm just gonna use my knife to buffer the edge of the hole. Just using the knife to do a little bit of a buffer around the hole, or a little bit of a shaving. And there you go. So I go in, I'm on the left side of the lashing. Go in with the short end here, which will remain in place, and then my working end is my other point there. And then I'm just gonna use this. I gotta carve it out, make a needle, point with it, like that. pass it around, come back under, in the same hole, and then see how this is on the point of the other roots here. So what's going to happen is this turnaround is going to come lock this one in place. I do hide it underneath, but it's going to be basically underneath all the other lashings. Sorry for the jet. Go in. So I got 2 passes now in that hole. Make my other hole with my awl. Usually make it pretty big to begin with because I know I'm going to go in twice. And I could do it smaller and then increase it the size of it after. But when I have to let's see here, there you go, want to keep tension. The root is in there and I have to go back with it all a second time. That's not bad, but if I have to really dig in, I'm damaging my root. So I want to avoid that, make my hole big enough right off the bat, right off the get-go. So I'm just going in that thwart hole, come back under my bark hole. It's pretty straightforward, just time consuming. Excited because once I'm done all these lashings, and I can finally work on the ribs. Have them in the water right now. So once I'm done, third pass, it's pretty tight to get through. There you go. Make sure I pull on here, make it tight, hold it with my thumb, pull on it with my other hand, nice and tight. Put it there so it's nice and flush. Make another hole here. Change the angle of the camera a little bit, maybe you guys can see a little bit better. There. Come back around into that hole there, thwart hole, pull it nice and tight. The secret with these lashings is you really want them to be tight along the wood, because if they're loose, then they're going to move around and then they can break if they're dry. But if they're nice and tight on the wood, then that's really solid. Go in, on. Another hole here. Right, there we go, that's what it looks like. And then for the last little bit, what I want to do is this part here, just basically slide it underneath all the other lashings. Slide it underneath like that, and it'll come out here, and then I'll pull it tight. I'm holding the camera with one hand, and sometimes it takes quite a little bit of jigging around to get it through. I'll get it through and then come back to you. Yeah, so sometimes I just gotta thin out the root here, make it more narrow. That helps it go through underneath. There you go. See how it's coming out on this side? I hope my head wasn't in the way. Okay, this. There we go. And then you just pull it tight without breaking it. Trim it off. Done. Trim these little pieces off. Perfect. Look at that beauty. Producing. We're producing, boys. See, so on that side you can see there the little tip that's coming out. That was the other end of the root. So it's all tucked underneath all the other passes. Perfect.